Sandy Beach and Company. Michael Caputo in for Sandy today, who's off on a well-deserved vacation.
His testimony before the House Intelligence Committee happened behind closed doors, but Michael Caputo, now a fill-in radio talk show host in Buffalo, New York,
on News Radio 930 WBEN,
wanted it live, broadcast, and in full view. So instead, he says he's telling CNN exactly what he planned to tell the committee about Russia and the Trump campaign he was involved with. That there is just nothing to the allegations of collusion.
Let me ask you some questions you'll probably get in Congress. Before, during, or after your involvement in the Trump campaign, did you bring any Russians to that campaign? Did you talk about Russia or the possible help the Russian government could give the campaign?
Never once. Never once.
Did you overhear anybody talking about collusion, getting help from the Russians, either through information, through fake news spreading, through tweets?
I heard nothing of the kind. In fact, we were so busy just trying to keep up with the sun rising and setting on that campaign that I can't imagine anyone had the time nor the wherewithal to go out there even do something like this. Anybody who covered the Trump effort knew this was a pell-mell operation from the moment he woke up in the morning until the moment he went to bed. The idea that somebody at that campaign would have had the forethought and the treachery and the resources to go out and do this is laughable.
I've heard it described as a show. Too harsh?
Too harsh for family television, yes.
This is cable.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think the Trump campaign was in many ways a show. There's no question about it. But that was always to be expected. He's not a politician.
There is a reason Michael Caputo is seen as a possible link to Russia. He was brought into the Trump campaign by his old friend Paul Manafort. His job? To improve communications, especially with the press. But long before he was part of Trump's campaign, he had a career in Moscow. His PR company worked for Russian-owned businesses, oligarchs. He was a protege of Roger Stone, worked with and for Paul Manafort, took contracts in Ukraine, and even his first wife was a Russian woman. He was about as much of a Russian insider as an American could be.
I was working on Russian elections paid by the United States government. I stayed an additional 5.5, 6 years running my own company. And ever since then, I've been involved in the former Soviet Union. And I'm not going to stop now.
Among his former clients, Gazprom Media, a subsidiary of the Russian state-owned energy company that took over one of the last independent TV stations in Russia in 2001. Caputo was hired by Gazprom to improve the media company's image. It is that history that caught the attention of Democratic Congresswoman Jackie Speer, who brought up Caputo's name in a congressional hearing.
Let's move on to someone else in that web. His name is Michael Caputo. What possible reason is there for the Trump campaign to hire Putin's image consultant? Any thoughts on that, Director Comey?
No thoughts.
You work to improve Putin's image?
No, that's absolutely false. That's Jackie Speer relying upon her interns for 2 months' information. I worked for Gazprom Media, which was a subsidiary of Gazprom, which was allied with Putin. I didn't work on Putin's image. I was trying to help Gazprom Media explain why they took over NTV, a television network. If that somehow down the line helped the Kremlin, that wasn't what I was hired for.
Caputo says he has known Donald Trump since 1988, never thought he could be elected president, but in November of 2015 was asked to become a part of the Trump campaign by his old friend Manafort. And even though he supports the Trump presidency, personally, he says, working on the campaign was one of the biggest mistakes of his life.
This was the hardest campaign to work on in my entire career. There's nothing even close.
He was hired to help with communications, but says he was never paid. Fought with Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski almost daily. And when Lewandowski was fired, Caputo sent out this celebratory tweet, "Ding dong, the witch is dead." Caputo was fired almost immediately.
But you still support Donald Trump?
Absolutely. I supported Donald Trump before he ran for president. I support Donald Trump now. I think he's delivering on what he promised me and my family. The problem we have is that he's got a huge impediment in front of him with the Russia collusion delusion.
Jim, as for the news of this week, Michael Caputo was on the Trump campaign when this meeting took place between Donald Trump's inner circle and this Russian attorney. He admits it looks bad, but says he never heard one word about that meeting at the time or after, and says that supports his belief that no matter what meeting took place, He believes Russia had no involvement with the Trump campaign, certainly not while he was on it.